Hi, I'm Adam Brody. I'm here with Brian Bacco, and as we all know, it's been a rough time for Pitt football recently, so we're here to sort of guide you through what's been going on in the past month in regards to the coaching search, the hiring of, the firing of Mike Haywood first off, and the hiring of Todd Graham. Brian, I don't know if you want to start us off a little bit about the coaching search that led to finding Todd Graham.
Well, the coaching search was, it was actually a little bit more than a search. I felt like it was kind of a saga by the time we got to the end of it. There was just so many twists and turns throughout this whole thing. It was kind of a roller coaster from beginning to end. Of course, you start with the firing of Dave Wanstead. People were kind of split on that, whether or not he should have gone. At the time, general consensus, it was the right move. After a pretty short coaching search, actually, Pitt goes out and hires Mike Haywood from the University of Miami, Ohio. And, of course, everybody knows, shortly thereafter, on New Year's Eve, Mike Haywood gets arrested on charges of domestic violence. So now, all of a sudden, it's looking like, was this the right guy? What happened here? Who didn't do their due diligence?
It's one of those things, as Pitt fans, we will never know whether Mike Haywood was the correct hiring choice by Steve Peterson or not. There's no way he could have known that this was going to happen. From a searching standpoint, it's entirely possible that he was the best coach for Pitt at that time, but we will never know how he would have taken our team. He could have won us 5 national championships. He could have been the worst coach ever. We'll never know. He'll merely go down as a footnote in Pitt history, really.
Yeah, and to that point, based on his resume, just on the field-wise, a lot of people weren't really sure what to think of him. Some people considered it a mediocre hire even before the allegations. So, of course, once that came out, the athletic department really had no choice but to fire Mike Haywood, which they did the next day. And all of a sudden, we were in the midst of basically where we were 2 weeks prior.
Yeah, and the new coaching search expanded. It was not just Steve Peterson, athletic director Steve Peterson's decision. Included a committee of panelists, the chancellor. There's going to be a first round of interviews, a second round of interviews. They widened the search to include more than just head coaches. All sorts of names thrown out there. Terrell Austin, Greg Roman, Tom Bradley, the big one.
Even Sal Sinceri.
Even Sal Sinceri, Tino's father.
I think he was always a long shot, but his name was in the mix.
Yeah,
so.
Popular with alumni, things like that. He was affiliated with the program back in the day. So.
And it was looking, like you said, like Tom Bradley was the initial leading candidate. In fact, last week, just a week before all the Todd Graham rumblings, WTAE even reported that Bradley to Pitt was a done deal. And a lot of people around Pittsburgh, fans, even the media, were all for it. Everybody was saying Bradley is a good coach. He's seen so much success at Penn State. So really, a lot of people were saying, let's go with Bradley. I think he'd be a good choice. And then all of a sudden, I guess, talks broke down between Bradley and Pitt. Bradley had some interviews with UConn, supposedly.
Or maybe not.
No one really knows.
Sure.
So much of this was just speculation all the way through. But regardless of what actually happened, the Tom Bradley-Pitt deal that was supposedly on the table fell through. And then all of a sudden, Todd Graham kind of catapulted ahead of Bradley as the leading candidate in this whole thing, and the rest is history.
Interestingly enough, a lot of people speculate that maybe Todd Graham was using the Pitt position as leverage to get more money for himself and his assistants at Tulsa. It even may have possibly started that way, but I will say this: Pitt definitely stepped up to the table in terms of what they're paying Todd Graham, what they're willing to pay his assistants. Dave Wanstead made $1 million as an average salary over the past few years. Todd Graham set to make $2 million a year, in addition to $2 million for his assistant salary pool. That really shows that Pitt Athletics and Steve Peterson specifically knew what they were looking for and knew that this was the right man to have. To bump up the financial commitment to that level means that they realized Todd Graham was the best choice out there. In my opinion, that's what I think they would have had to see in Todd Graham in order to give him so much money.
Yeah, they must have, because Todd Graham was, as most people were reporting, the only coach that we know of to get a second interview, a follow-up interview with Steve Peterson, Nordenberg, and the rest of the search committee. So, they must have been impressed by Todd Graham, his on-the-field resume, as well as how he handled himself and just the way he is as a person.
Todd Graham also apparently impressed very well at his press conference today. We'll have some highlights of that later in our show. He spoke very strongly about his offensive philosophy, spread offense, speed, 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 and speed. Very important for him. He wants to keep the Heinz Field crowd standing out of their feet the entire game. His offense always finishes, in the top 20 in the league, in the country for sure. I believe last year they averaged about 41 points a game, something ridiculous, unheard of at Pitt, really.
Yeah. Definitely a stark contrast to Dave Wanstead's offensive philosophy. Just more of a power running game, a pro style, as it's known. With the quarterback, not too much in the shotgun formation. Doesn't really like to throw the ball a whole lot if he can afford to. So, of course, Dave Wanstead was more run game oriented, smash mouth football. Some Pittsburgh fans liked that, some didn't. But either way, Todd Graham is certainly going to be a very different approach, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And it'll be exciting to see just kind of how it pans out on the field.
Yeah, and I would caution people from expecting too much for this upcoming season, because when you switch from a pro-style offense or spread-style offense, you need different types of athletes to play in it, whereas all the recruits, all the players we have on our team now are suited for that power-eye, running-style offense. It's going to be his job over the next few years to recruit, develop the kind of talent that he wants to have in his kind of team, and then we'll see how it's implemented on the field. I know one of the knocks against hiring Todd Graham over Tom Bradley is the recruiting standpoint. A lot of Pitt fans felt that Tom Bradley knew Western Pennsylvania better, could recruit better players from around here. I would have to say that Todd Graham will be able to recruit this area as well. Pitt is the big school for playing football in Western Pennsylvania. All he has to do when he gets here is call some high school coaches around the area, be like, hey, I'm Todd Graham, I'm Pitt's new coach. Do you have any players you think would be good for me? If you're a high school coach, you want players to play at that next level, you'd be more than willing to help out Todd Graham. In addition, he knows a lot of people down in Texas, and as we all know, Texas has a pretty darn good high school football program. Maybe we could even get some of those guys. I think having him will actually widen the recruit base.
Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. I think too much is being made of the fact that Tom Bradley is a Western PA guy and Todd Graham isn't. I really don't think that matters much at all. I don't think Tom Bradley or Dave Wanstead, for that matter, I don't think their ties to Western PA really do too much for them in terms of recruiting. I think Todd Graham's offensive philosophy alone is going to get a lot of recruits from this area. And of course, defensive recruits are still going to want to come to play for Pitt as well. In recent years, so much is made of guys coming to a school to play for a coach, and then when that coach leaves, they don't want to go there anymore. They want to transfer. But Todd Graham's starting anew. So anyone that comes to the University of Pittsburgh will be coming to play not just for Todd Graham, but just for the team in general. Now, one thing that I might be a little worried about with Todd Graham, I think a lot of people blow this out of proportion. It is a concern, but it's just the fact that he could be a guy that uses Pitt as a stepping stone, if you will, to kind of vault to a higher level program. Now, you don't want to speculate on that too early, but it's certainly something that could happen.
Yeah, it's definitely a concern. The athletic department realizes that. I don't know the exact details, but I believe there is a very large buyout clause in his contract. If he's going to leave, the school that he goes to will have to pay Pitt a lot of money. It's one of those things, I'm not that worried about it. If he spends 4 or 5 years here and goes to a bigger, better program, whatever that might be, the only way he will do that, or even be hired to do that, wanted to do that, is if we've had a successful 4 or 5 years. As a Pitt fan, I can take that. I can take a successful 4 or 5 years over the mediocrity that's been the last 30.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I've even heard some people say that if Todd Graham is here in 4 or 5 years, that means he's probably failed at some level. So I really think a lot of people just kind of, they put too much stock into things like that. If a guy's going to leave, there's really nothing you can do. You're not going to hire a coach just because he's loyal. That doesn't mean he's a better coach than somebody else. I mean, look at Jamie Dixon. His job prospects have supposedly been there for a long time, and he's remained loyal to Pitt. So you really just have to wait and see. I don't think you can kind of just try to foresee something like that. I don't think that should be factored into the decision.
Yeah, at this point, it really boils down to how well can Pitt play next season, how well can play the season after that. Anything in the future we'll worry about later. Without further ado, here's some highlights of the press conference, and instead of us talking about our new coach, Todd Graham, we'll let him talk about himself.
Words can't express, walking down the hallways here, and the great tradition of this program and what it means to me. It's very, very humbling. It was a very emotional day to walk up and look at Johnny Majors' locker upstairs. Growing up, naturally, loving athletics and loving football. And, I started off 26 years ago, coaching 7th grade football, and I've been very, very blessed. And I've been around, the building today. Got an opportunity to see the tradition and the great players here. You go through the Hall of Fame and you see the Heisman Trophy, Tony Dorsett, Dan Marino, Mike Pitt, Mark May, all the great players. I'm a Mike Pitt fan. I'm kind of a high, intense guy, passionate, and really identify with him. But looking at this opportunity, this is a dream come true for me, and for my family, and for my staff. Guys that I've been with a long time in this business, get an opportunity to head up a BCS program. I was the first person in the history of my family to graduate college, and the academic excellence of this university is very, very important to me. I've had an opportunity to work at Rice and at Tulsa. It'd be remiss for me not to thank the people at Tulsa. I spent 7 years there. Tremendous university, and I want to give honor and respect to Coach Wanstead, Coach Bennett, the 2010 senior class and 2010 football team, and all the past players that have come through these doors. It is my honor and privilege to be your coach, and that is something that I will work very, very hard to earn your trust and to put a product on the field, in the classroom, and out on the streets that you can be proud of. Think of Pittsburgh, and I think of Pitt football program. You think of blue collar, hard edge, tough brand of football. Talking real briefly about the recruits and the recruiting class. I know there's a lot of questions about that. We'll put together one of the finest recruiting classes ever, I believe, because as I walk through this campus and I walk down these halls, the opportunity to do that is just phenomenal. You take the great academics that's offered here, and the great tradition, and the staff, and the people. It makes a place for the people. And that's the thing that I'm most impressed with as I walk down these halls. Tell you a little bit about what to expect. We are going to be, we're a no-huddle football team. We're not a no-huddle offense, we're a no-huddle football team. We're going to operate extremely fast tempo, high octane, explosive. We'll be the most explosive team in the country. That's our...
All right, so there you have it. Todd Graham's press conference. Pretty impressive, pretty exciting stuff. I think he's really going to get this town reinvigorated with their Pitt football team. That's been a little bit of a disappointment the past few years under Dave Wanstead. So we just want to say best of luck to Coach Graham and the Pitt football program.
Yeah, for Adam Brody and Brian Bacco, this has been a production of Panther Sports Network. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, keep watching our stuff on YouTube. Good luck next season.